Welcome back people to the QGIS course. Professor Piyush here. So in the previous video, we discussed about labels. How can we use different labels to define our spaces or the areas in the map, and how can we segregate our labels based on the attribute data. So all those things we did. Now moving forward, I will explain you how can we classify that particular data in the attribute table, make use of it to make our map more elaborate and understandable. If you have started now from this video, please follow the playlist in which all training videos of QGIS are there. You can start from the scratch, from the beginner level, and can start learning with me. So labels, as you can see here, the names and all these things, these are basically labels. They are a very good way to communicate information, such as names, places, individual places, but we can't use it for everything. For example, let's say we want to know what each land use area is used for. So if you see here in my layer panel, the land use, there is a further subdivisions of the land use, and which is color coded, and every color has a different representation. So this I was able to achieve because of the attribute data table, right? And I use that table data to map it, and you can see that's why my map is colored differently based on these land use. So easily I can recognize in the map which is industrial, like this blue color. I can easily see in the map this is an industrial area. And of course, the color code you can definitely change. Just double click here, it will open the symbol selector, and you can change the color code, as different countries have different color codes associated with the master plan. Accordingly, you can set your map. So let's explore and see how can we achieve this. How can we color code our map based on the land use? So here I have removed the color codes. Now you can see my land use doesn't have all those color codes which you were able to see before. Just to make you clear, how can we do that? If you want, you can off all these layers like places and all, and just to see what's happening, like names and all, if they're bothering you, just to see the color code properly. Or if you want, you can off the roads as well and buildings, just to understand the color coding very well. Now currently, if you see, all the colors are same because this is all land use, all in the same color. So to color code it based on the attribute data, we have to go to the properties again. So you can double click, or as I said in previous videos also, you can directly bring it from here at the top. Let's do that. You have to go to symbology this time, and in the symbology you can see it is single symbol. That's why I make sure your land use is selected. That's why it is the same color, because I have set the single symbol. To categorize it or to classify the data, you have to go to the rollout and select categorized. Right, the moment you do that, you can see there are no values given here. That's why all the land use is gone. It's not visible, and color also not visible. So we have to set the values here. So you go to the value toolbar, and you can see all values are here. What are the values here? If you remember, if you right click your land use and go to the attribute table, these are the values or the fields, right? So you will see the field in the value toolbar, like full ID, OSM, land use, name, type, and all. And under those fields, these are the values. So if you remember in the video where I explained what is attribute table and how to read it, so rows are the values and columns are the fields. So automatically in the value rollout, you will see all the fields, and that data is automatically embedded in that. Currently, I need to see the land use. So I will select it, and the symbol is like this. I will go to random colors, and I will choose random color map, select it. Still nothing happened. Why? Because there is one more thing to do. You have to go down and click classify button here. It will not update live as all other elements were doing, but this you have to classify. When you click classify, automatically you will see all the values which were there in the land use field has been classified. So the value was based on the use of that land which is designated in the table, like cemetery, conservation, farmland, and the colors are given randomly. There are different color ramp also you can choose as you want for different projection of maps, right? So you can set the data accordingly. Let's say you are creating a map based on the population hierarchy, like which area has more population, so you can use a gradient or something like this, right? But here we just need to highlight different use of the land, so we need different colors everywhere. So you can see the residential is in pink, and of course these colors are not fixed, they are randomly given by the software. You can set your colors based on the master plan of your country or state or a district or whatever, or town, whichever your organization body has designated. You can use those colors. Now if you go to the layer panel, let me just stretch this panel so that you can see it properly. Now if I click this drop down button, you'll see all the layers which I was able to see here is shown here also, right? So from here I can change the colors according to my master plan designated. And if you see here at the down, automatically there is one null value where nothing has been designated, which if you see closely in this panel, it says all other values, which includes all other areas which are not designated for any kind of use or something, or there's some dispute, or there are some new areas incorporated in the land. Those also should be shown in the map. That's why this automatically new null value has been created, so that all the things are represented in the map automatically. If it's not there, then you won't be able to see those values. So I hope you understand how can you create a land use map like this, and practice on your own. If you have some other land use data with you, please do it, or you can just practice it again, remove that categorized single layer and try it again yourself. Practice at your own pace. I will give you an exercise. What you can do is, instead of land use, let me just go back to the single map, single symbol for the land use, and let the color be like this for now. If you open the building layer and you want to classify building accordingly, so you see what your data is telling you based on that. Let me bring the attribute table as well for the buildings. In the table, you can see the data is based on the buildings. There's different commercial, retail, hangar. It has been designated accordingly. So you can use this also to do the same thing as we did with the land use. So again, you select the building layers first and then go to the symbology. And this time in the rollout, do the same, put the categorized, right? And give it value. So this time we will select building, right? And further on, you can follow the process and see. You can also save this style so that later on, whenever you want to load, you don't have to do the things again and again in the map. So to save any style, just go to the properties, the layer properties of that particular layer where you want to save the style or which style you want to copy. You need to go down at the style rollout here, click it and go to save style. And then you need to select the file, this browser button. And you can see I have already saved this particular layer style as land uses in my training data, exercise data, which I have shared in the video description. If you haven't downloaded, please do that. And under the styles folder, you will find all these styles. So this I have added here. You can do the same. And then let's say I want to reload this. So first of all, I will just bring it to default by single symbol. And if I want to reload, I have to go back to the properties, open it. This time I will select load style and again go to the browse folder, and then we'll select land usage. And I will double click this and click load style and apply. And the same style which I have done is already here, right? So this classification which you see here is known as nominal classification, right? So there was no order or something like that. Basically, based on the name only, the data has been classified and it is represented through colors. So there are different types of classification which we can do in QGIS. So we'll cover slowly one by one. This was nominal classification. In the next video, I will show you how can we do ratio classification. So what happens in ratio classification? The numbers are on a scale, right? Positive and zero values, like with only positive and zero values. There's no negative values in that. So let's say I'm making a temperature map of a certain place. So there can be absolute zero and there can be positive values in degrees and all. So there, this ratio classification will help me in find out the spaces or highlight the spaces based on the values. So I can have a ratio map of it. Colors can be shown through gradient, as I showed you, as I gave you example in this video as well. If I want to represent my data as a gradient color, so their ratio classification will help. So we'll do some exercises in that and we'll understand the application of ratio classification or different typology of maps. And please keep practicing and following me up in the video. See you there.